Windbreaker might just be the next big thing. The Spice and Wolf remake is pretty good, I think. The sleeper hit of the season is out and you should be watching. And Crunchyroll is really bad at preventing leaks. It's fine, they've only been at it for like 15 years. Welcome back to another episode of This Week in Anime, except it's not, is it? Welcome to an episode of This Month in Anime, because good god.
I am not in danger.
Anime girl.
I am the danger.
Windbreaker. It's quite good in more ways than one. It looks great. I like the designs and the general aesthetic. And the action animation / direction was phenomenal. They pulled through with long, well choreographed cuts which made use of 3D backgrounds. And the animation kept up. It wasn't flawless, not every cut was smooth, but ambition of this level is definitely respectable. And the execution was solid. Make no mistake, it was an excellent episode visually speaking. Of course, ambition like this is most likely a first episode only thing. I doubt we'll see anything this good from the remaining 12 episodes. Maybe once or twice, but thankfully the general aesthetic is great, meaning this show should look decent, unless something goes terribly wrong. Alright then, the show looks nice, but is the story good? I think so, I do. It was such a roller coaster for me. At first, I was like, oh, an action anime protagonist who's actually capable of winning fights. I'm sold. But then I was like, oh, he blushed at the mere sight of a woman. Oh no, it's one of those shows. But then I was like, oh, it's actually him not being familiar with kindness because of his past. That's interesting. So I'm intrigued. Good first episode, it can be fun. The Spice and Wolf remake. It looks good, doesn't it? I haven't seen the original, but the remake looks solid. I love the general atmosphere between the laid-back vibe and Kevin Penkin's soulful soundtrack. It's amazing. Also, I was never a fan of that mid to late 2000s anime aesthetic. So here's my unpopular opinion. I like the remake more in terms of its general look, CGI horse and all. Let's see where it goes. Most of the shows up until now have been promising in one way or another. Most, not all. But even amongst that strong lineup, one show stood out, unsurprisingly so. Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night episode 1 was a breath of fresh air. The first episode was incredibly well directed and animated. The use of quick hard cuts and intercuts with unorthodox timing and the beautiful use of lighting and colors made for a stunning experience. We got a few ambitious cuts with complex camera work. The execution was lacking, but it's an endearing effort. The episode was directed by Ryohei Takeshita himself and it was so good. The writing was great. The characters are really likable and the interactions between them are fun to watch, which is a plus. The overall premise is quite interesting as well. A youth drama with elements of showbiz? I'm in. Also, I don't know if this is confirmed. I don't think it is, but apparently all 12 episodes are finished, which, if true, is great. Although that alone doesn't guarantee anything. A few years back, this exact studio wrapped up My Senpai is Annoying before the show started airing, but the team had to rush it anyway, as they had to jump over to Shikimori-san afterwards. Still hoping for the best. Here are a few other shows you might want to keep an eye on. Astronaut episode 1 was wild. It caught me off guard, and just when I thought I had figured out where it was going, it caught me off guard again. It's silly, it's funny, and it's chaotic. The Train to the End of the World episode 1 was a surreal, funny yet thought-provoking work. I have no clue where it's going and that's a good thing. The possibilities are endless. Again, promising season so far.
Oh, the irony! It's too much!
A whole bunch of anime episodes, including ones from Konosuba and Sound Euphonium, got leaked, and apparently Crunchyroll is at fault. This is extremely ironic as Crunchyroll started off as a site that hosted unlicensed leaks. It has come full circle. I haven't seen any of those episodes, and I implore you to do the same. Speaking of irony, Studio MAPPA is producing an original anime that's all about the anime industry. I wonder if they'll include the part where the director has a breakdown. Or what about the sacrificed ambition arc? Cinema, I say. In all seriousness, I am excited for it. For an animation nerd like myself, it's bound to be a treasure trove of information about and insight into the industry. What else? Not much happened this month, huh? They announced a second season of Shangri-La Frontier for the fall of this year. Yes, they will release another 25 episodes. How? I don't know. This will either be an exemplary display of planning and resourcefulness, or one of the worst cases of slave driving in recent memory. And imagine how much territory that takes in. The word isekai was added to the Oxford English Dictionary, which, sure, I don't have much to add. Rent-A-Girlfriend mangaka Reiji Miyajima posted AI art, and people are mad. I think their anger is misdirected. They should be mad at him for coming up with Rent-A-Girlfriend. That's his biggest offense. Something new Tokyo Ghoul project. It's not a remake, move on. Anilist pulled an amazing April Fool's prank. This month was dry in terms of anime news, wasn't it? Let's move on. Well, it's been a while since the last one, and I have watched and read a lot of stuff. However, most of it was boring, so I'll talk about the highlights alone. I watched Yozakura Quartet, the version with the good animation, and guess what? The animation was really good. Like, one of the best displays of animation out there good. The story was inoffensive and unremarkable, which was fine. I was there for the visuals anyway. I don't really have much to add. I recommend checking it out if you're into Sakuga, for lack of a better term. Another thing I watched was Pompo The Cinephile. I've been meaning to check it out for a while, and I finally did the other day. It was amazing. As someone who's interested in all things visual, I'm directing an Attack on Titan fan animation in case you didn't know. I found it fascinating. It was directed by the legendary Takayuki Hirao, and of course, you can't direct a movie that's all about direction and not go that extra mile. Be it the creative transition or the snappy editing, this movie had it all. At one point, one of the characters broke out into a Fortnite emote completely out of nowhere. It's not relevant to the point I was trying to make, I just wanted to mention it. It was a lot of fun, I'd recommend it. And finally, we have The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic, one of the best shows from the previous season. It was isekai done right. The characters were likable and not too over the top in either direction. The story was sufficiently enjoyable with a few strong emotional beats, and the visuals weren't awful, so good stuff. I was hyping it up since day one, and I feel like a proud parent now that it's over. And that should be it. I know I'm not consistent with this video concept. It's not exactly a weekly series, despite the name, but that's the idea. It's supposed to be an occasional thing. It's just a way for me to cover a series of smaller topics. It's not exactly a news broadcast. I will continue making these, hopefully at more regular intervals. That's about it. Liked the video? Check out this other bit of content on screen. Like and subscribe, and until next time.